Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
So you're dressed like you're on a golf course.
And
I'm dressed relatively nicely.
You're dressed also like you're on a golf course.
That's fair. As a waiter. I often wear like a suit, but I don't often wear a suit when I go to like farmers markets and stuff, because it's just like it's out in the dirt and I'm moving shit around and whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I had a meeting before my farmers market today, so I wore the suit to the farmers market, and the organizer, who's still pretty new, like she just got the job this summer, doesn't really know me yet, was like, "Oh, why are you dressed up?" And I'm like, "Oh, I was in court." And it was just like, yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, they're trying to deport me. Anyway, I got to go set up." And I just left.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think there's some pretty like deep Willows like mythology that's like consistent through the years. And that's one of my favorites, is that I'm born in Uppsala, Sweden, and that I moved to Canada to like escape some sort of criminal investigator or something.
And that's why your mead is called.
Yeah.
The
Well, and
Uppsala
like
sweet mead.
my that's been my birthplace on Facebook since I was like 13 years old.
Nice.
Um,
So it's a deep cut.
and every so often I'll say something along the lines of like, whenever they're like someone's talking about like getting someone pregnant or something, I'll be like, "I haven't gotten anyone pregnant since the last time when I moved to Canada and changed my name to Willows and started a winery." And then yeah, that's a pretty good. Or the other good ones that I have a daughter named One Tildo.
One tildo.
Yeah, because I was late for math one day in grade 11, Miss Doe's math class, and I texted the guy that sat beside me, and I'm like, "Yo, tell Miss Doe that I'm gonna be late, because my daughter is sick." So I get there, and she's like, "Willows Hall." I'm like, "Fuck." And then it's like immediately when she closes the door, she goes from like mad to like worried, and she's like, "Is your kid okay?" And I'm like, yeah. She just woke up with a fever, and I just wanted to, I just needed to make sure before I dropped her off at the daycare. And then so like periodically through the year, she'd ask me about the kid.
Yeah.
And then I remember like exam week, she asked me, she's like, "I never actually asked, what was your daughter's name?" And I'm like, "Juan Tildo." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, they let you pick any name when you get down there. I don't know."
So did she figure it out?
Maybe, probably.
I'm sure she did.
But like there was kids, like it was plausible. Like there was kids younger than me
Sure.
getting pregnant.
Absolutely
in school,
plausible.
right? And like I had a pub, like I was
tildo.
Juan Tildo, yeah.
That sounds sexual for some reason. Tildo.
Anyway, so welcome to Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast where we talk about business topics, both sober and drunk, to see if we come to the same conclusion. This is episode 80. Tyler is that guy, and me is Willow's guy.
Fantastic introduction.
Here's the thing. So the first thing we want to talk about, and then we'll get into business topics, but we have to lead with a politics topic. Sports topic more often. As you know, Tyler and I are big sports fans.
Yeah, big sports ball fans.
We watch a lot of basket hoop.
Lots of sports ball.
What is the basket hoop? Well, that's what Shaq played, right?
Yeah, basket hoop.
I just know Shaq because he's like a good investor.
Yeah. Good hooper.
I thought he was really bad. Wasn't that the joke?
No, he was a beast. He was really good.
I thought he was like.
He's terrible at shooting. He had a terrible range shot.
Isn't that how you get points?
Well, he literally just puts it in the rim because he's so big. Just like drops it in.
They should make those taller.
Literally. But the way that the athleticism is escalating with the NBA now, like there's fuckers in grade 8 that are doing windmill dunks in game. It's like, okay, this isn't even funny or a challenge anymore. Guys are like, "Oh, I can put my head in the rim and I'm only 5'7". No, they just need to fucking jack that thing up. We need an 11 foot hoop.
Anyway, so we're obviously pretty educated in sports, and
yeah, obviously
there was a sports trade. I'm sure you've heard that term before. So they traded, what's his name? Victor. It's definitely Victor.
They traded Victor.
Victor Bout, Bout, if memory serves.
Yeah, it doesn't even say his name in this article.
It's
Oh yeah, no,
definitely-
yeah, Victor Bout, Victor with a K.
Got it. So they traded Victor Bout, who's a convicted arms trafficker, for whatever the basketball girl's name was.
For Griner.
And
Brittany Griner.
let's go! I only like him because Nicolas Cage portrayed him in a film called Lord of War.
And I also like it because in that film they bought real weapons because it was cheaper than buying props.
But apparently Russia's been trying to get this guy back for like a long time.
Yeah.
And they just like never did. And so they just traded him for the girl they arrested for smoking weed in Russia.
For having a small amount of CBD oil in her bag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pushing it.
Like,
See, like
medicinally prescribed in the U.S.
sometimes I want to be like play the devil's advocate where I'm like, yeah, well, don't break the fucking country's laws. Like, play stupid games, get stupid pride. Like Russia's notoriously strict, right? Don't fuck
Don't
around.
bring your weed.
Don't bring your fucking weed. Don't try to get away with it, right?
Yeah.
If you go into jail, it's your fucking fault. But okay, I could see how CBD could be like confused, like fuck off. It's not psychoactive.
Wasn't joints or a bag of weed. It was CBD oil.
So I'm on her side for that.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny. All the there was a lot of like left, maybe more liberal talking heads that were talking about how like if this was LeBron James, he would have been fucking freed in 2 seconds.
Which is probably true.
And drawing correlations between that and the fact that no one gives a shit about WNBA
Which is also true.
because women are inferior.
The games can be pretty good, but have you seen the other games?
No, actually.
Like I don't know, the pace and the athleticism, like the highlight reels
See-
and shit, it's not really comparable.
See,
Like
an
obviously-
NBA fan watching WNBA is the same as me watching NBA. It's boring as fuck, and I don't care.
I think watching live, I would be fucking thrilled to watch a WNBA game. It'd be a lot of fun. I think just on the TV, it doesn't because if you want to sell something on TV, it has to be extreme, over the top, insane, like to grab people's attention, right? And while women may play great basketball, they're not like jumping over 3 dudes and putting their whole shoulder through the rim.
Anyway, welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, where we talk about
sports are really stupid. And I think it's just bread and circuses. Who said that? Nero?
Caesar.
I think it was Nero, but it may have been Caesar. Keep them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt, and that's just what fucking sports games are. There's people that get shot over like disagreements over football games in America.
I disagree. I think Congress is the bread and sports ball gladiator games. I think government debates and quote unquote elections and voting is the circus. Personally, that keeps people from revolting. I think that's more accurate.
Okay, I disagree with you, but
You don't think Congress is a circus?
no. Okay, that's now you're twisting my words.
He's like, I didn't say that.
I don't think anyone pays attention to the government enough to like be distracted.
Yeah, maybe it's yes and.
Like it's an idiom suggesting that if you distract the masses, they won't revolt.
Right.
Right? And that's people really care about sports.
Yeah.
Like really care.
It does a lot for like local economies too, like hyper local.
Yeah, I don't mind. So here, like I'll watch a Jets game, not alone, but I'll go watch it in the pub or like with you guys, right? I'll watch a Jets game. I'll go to a Jets game. Never have, but I would.
If the tickets weren't exorbitantly expensive.
Yeah. If Daniel could get me in for free or something.
I was gonna say the one time you won Jets tickets, you immediately just hustled them to somebody else in the bar.
That is I won. I won 2 pairs of Jets tickets in a draw, just in a pub, and then I immediately scalped them for like double what they were worth.
Yeah,
they're like $70 seats. I sold them for like $200 for the pair. Like,
that's fantastic.
I'm about that money, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that's basic. Like Daniel would be like, "Here's some free tickets," and you'd probably scalp them, and Daniel would be like, "Fair."
That is fair.
He's like, "I'd never giving you tickets again, but fair."
Nipple piercings taste like nickels, and I'm all about that money. I don't know why that came to my head. Anyway, but let's say for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the sentence is going. I have a lot of like unused. I'm at the point in my life last couple weeks where I'm like so exhausted that I have like manic energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
And I can't stop yawning. I'm like taking caffeine pills and I'm like falling asleep, but I like am wired. I need a vacation and therapy.
Probably, yeah. All of those, yeah, for sure. I've been like my energy's crashed last 5 days probably, but thank fuck I've had like an easy week, so it's been fine. I didn't work this morning. I golfed all afternoon. So, that was hard.
My employees are stressing me out. They're all idiots.
Aren't they always?
My one of my employees spent 25 minutes lost in Oak Bank.
Oh no.
Trying to get to a event.
That's on the one street through Oak Bank.
What I said. Yeah, because your girlfriend called me, like she usually does. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. She Snapchats me. If you're watching the YouTube video version of this podcast, you can see what I said into the camera. But she was like, my boss is worried. We're doing an event at his girlfriend's dance studio, if that wasn't obvious from the context of the story. And she's like, no, it's 6 o'clock and no one's here. And I'm like, well, someone should be there. So I call my employee, and I'm working as well, right? So I couldn't call for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But then so I call, and she's like, yeah, I've been fucking here for like 20 minutes, and I can't find the right door. And I'm like, because it's like a strip mall, I guess, but like on the second floor.
That I can see. That would be a bit confusing.
And I gave her all the information I had.
Yeah.
But so it ended up working out. She got in and it was fine. But it was just like that was stressing me out today. And then my other employees at another market, and then it started thunderstorming, and that's always stressful for all of us. And then it's like a whole. It's hurting cats with these fucking people.
I was gonna say, how much money have you lost from random rain and thunderstorms this year?
Oh, probably thousands, probably tens of thousands, honestly. Like,
fantastic.
Last year was uncharacteristically dry, though.
Yeah, and hot.
But now this year is uncharacteristically rainy. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like today went from downpour to like, oh, it's a little sunny, and then it was downpour, and then it was sunny, and then it was downpour, and it was like, oh, funnel cloud warning, great. And yeah, it's good golfing conditions for sure.
Yeah, I love waving around a metal pole in an open field in a thunderstorm.
If they see lightning, they like sound a horn, then you got to run back to the clubhouse. So we didn't see any lightning, but there still was a funnel cloud warning, which is...
I saw lightning on my side of town.
Yeah, not for us. Yeah, fucking hurting cats, man. I'm glad that the logistics of my business is very simple, because yeah, the hour to hour stuff is really stressful.
Like, I think I would be better off. Also, I will admit that I probably overthink a lot of these things. Like, they'd be fine without my micromanagement.
Probably.
But then, like, a few times a week, they're not. So I'm vindicated. And then I'm like, oh, now it's happening every time.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably like 1 in 10 times I need to micromanage them. And not like micromanage like I'm sitting over their shoulder, but just like micromanage like I need to confirm all the details of something and tell them where to go and make sure they go and like on time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of them just don't ask for my clarification. They just do it themselves and then do it incorrectly.
I mean, that's kind of what you asked for, is autonomy.
Yeah, but get smarter, right?
I mean,
no, I'm just venting. If you're listening, guys, I love you, but you got to get smarter. The world's a fucking hard place. Life's fast, you're slow.
It's great advice. That's a very inspirational speech. You'd be good at sports ball coaching.
I want to be a sports ball coach, if we're being honest.
So do I, actually.
Did you see Trump today or yesterday? He was talking about he cares about transgender people because that's the cool thing for Republicans to care about now.
Yeah. It gets some claps.
He's never talked about it before publicly until like 3 weeks ago,
Interesting.
and now he's talking about it because I think you gotta.
It's a big voting issue, yeah.
But he's like, oh, if I'd be the best. I still can't do a good Trump. I'd be the best. I'd be the best WNBA coach in the world. I would just say LeBron James. Hey, LeBron. I don't really like LeBron James. I much prefer Michael Jordan. This is exactly what he said. But I'd say, hey, LeBron, you want to switch your gender, and then you'll be the best. You'll be the all-star. Like,
you ever fancy being a woman? I think that's what he said. You ever you ever fancy being a woman, LeBron?
I'd be the best coach. It's like, yes, it's that simple.
That gets fucking applause.
Well,
Like-
it's transphobes have one joke.
Identify as a dumpster.
Yeah, and it's you can change your gender, and that's the entire joke.
Yeah.
This is variations on the attack helicopter joke.
Yeah.
And there's no other joke. Like
Basically, yeah.
yeah.
I heard it today, actually.
Literally. Well, I can just what was the one I saw today? Some woman tweeted about the ongoing battles she has with her quote woke child.
Oh no.
Because she has like a teenage daughter
Yeah.
who pushes back on all her bullshit.
Fair.
And this is like like her name was like Mega Mama with like a bunch of American flags in her bio or whatever.
I would emancipate myself immediately.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I had to have my woke child lost an argument today because I was like, oh, I'm Latina or something like that." And she's like, "You can't just change your race." And then she's like, "Haha, got you. You can't change your race, but you can change your gender. Check mark. Checkmate." And then the daughter was like, "I don't want to talk about this. You're an idiot." And then she's like, "That means I won." Like,
Yeah, basically.
oh man,
Yeah, that's basically the same thing, yeah.
people are just so dumb. See, I like to think that like things will get better when the boomer generation dies, but they're teaching this shit to their kids, hey?
Oh yeah, this
Ugh.
is absolutely trickling down, but it's trickling down in a very like the people that are actually picking this up of younger generations, it's far smaller.
But I guess a lot of them have access to the internet,
Right.
and they can find refuge in Reddits and whatever that with like people that also feel the same way.
More, I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you. I don't know about you, the listener. If your parents are like, hey, I believe in this, you should do this, probably do the opposite, because whatever mom and dad are doing is fucking not cool. Which is why, unfortunately, a lot of stuff does swing left and right intergenerationally. But
you know what I think is that like a lot of children, not children like young children, but like people who are children of other people, they
everyone?
exactly, except Adam and Steve, they try to actively do the opposite of what their parents taught them or whatever. But I think they internalize a lot of their parents' behavior.
Absolutely.
And then they become their parents. Like, I fucking, when, was it New Year's? I think it was either New Year. It was cold out, I remember, and JL was in town before he moved here. And we were drinking, and we were all hot, and he opened the window to cool everyone off, but the heat was on, full blast. And when I noticed it, I started yelling at him. And I'm like, you fucking opened the window. I could have just turned the heat down. You know how much fucking money that's costing me? And then I turned around and I literally said out loud, oh my fucking God, I'm turning into my father.
Yeah.
After being like, of course I'm never going to turn out like my father. And then I'm like, you know how much it just fucking cost me in heating bills? Like, fuck, damn it.
The immediate response.
What are you going to do?
See, trust me, this is actually relevant.
But so I think a lot of people, just to finish my thought, I think a lot of people do that, except they're like, fuck that native person.
Right.
Because their father said the same thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so the speaking of that, great segue, the Pope basically in an apology said fuck that native person.
He was wearing headdress.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh man.
So for context, the Pope came to Canada to make an apology, and this apology was basically, "Hey, sorry, some Christians are evil." It wasn't the policies set by the people in my position and by the church that I'm in charge of led to this,
the genocide of people.
and these policies still stand to this day.
Yeah, and here's some money to make up for it. It wasn't any of that.
Well, they've already agreed to pay money, but they haven't paid any of it.
Yeah.
Or they paid a tiny amount of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's not really meaningful, right? I'm just looking for the actual snapshot here, the policy. Fucking JL sends me too many things.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, there it is. So the Doctrine of Discovery of 1452. I'll just quickly read it out, because this is reason I want to read this is because like I thought I had an idea of what this was. So Doctrine of Discovery is what people blame for their role in the residential schools, and I just imagine it was kind of what a lot of Christian groups are, of like what it sounds like, where you go out and expand the faith and grow more churches and whatever. Here's the actual wording, and this is what they refuse to change and acknowledge to this day. It says, quote, not the entire thing, but quote, invade, search out, great start, invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever, and the other enemies of Christ wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held and possessed by them, and to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to apply and appropriate himself and his successors, kingdoms, dukedoms, counties, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all goods, and convert them to his or her use or profit. So
I want to have
go forth, invade, pillage, subjugate, enslave, and steal.
I want to have a dukedom.
That stands to this day.
Well, yeah.
So
It's like a jihad.
it's great. It
honestly is great. I'm very happy.
Yeah, so it's totally fine. Yeah, so it was an empty ass apology. It was
But just-
fucking sad.
Just get over it.
Yeah, literally.
The last residential school closed in 1996, but just get over it.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
That's fine. That's ancient fucking history.
That was like last century, last millennia.
Yeah, technically 1,000 years ago. Technically, right?
It's like 1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much like 1,000 years ago. Yeah,
So, anyways, I was actually going to say a second point to that. They've not paid their fucking recompense, and they've not apologized. But in a sense, they have, because since the like massive, sex abuse scandals came out in whatever 2011, 2012, since that time, I think the U.S. numbers, because that's the only numbers we get, U.S. numbers for people attending Catholic Mass on a weekly basis was around 35% of Americans were attending Mass every Sunday. Just 12 years later, now, it's at about 11%.
Is Catholicism the highest denomination population in America?
I believe it's SBC, Southern Baptist Convention, which is the pro-slavery Protestant
That
denomination.
seems like...
They're like 30%.
Really? That seems like a lot. New
think-
York and California have a lot of fucking people, bro.
I think as a percentage of the entire country, I don't think Catholics are the largest. They're up there though. They're definitely top 3.
It's probably just the norm. What's the normal one? Like Protestant?
Yeah. It's
Normal one?
Yeah, US is predominantly Protestant, and the largest group in the Protestants is the Southern Baptists. So it is it's probably like Protestants and then Catholics and then
What's
Anglicans,
the-
Jewish, all that. Muslims, Hindus.
Is it all just like semantics as far as like the different sects go?
Some of them, but some of them differ dramatically. Like Catholics and Protestants are quite different.
I thought it was just like...
Catholics and Anglicans are very similar.
I thought Catholics and Protestants were just like... One of them you can like bang your ex-wife and one of them you can't.
More or less.
And they just like fought so many wars over it.
No, the Protestants
Because
are
when like
Protestants are like what you think of when you see like the slave owning South and
Yeah.
those types of Christians. That's Protestants.
But I felt like I was a Protestant when I grew
Yeah.
up, so I was a slave guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I can either be the slavery Christian or the sex abuse Christian.
You forgot war crimes, but yeah.
I guess slavery, right? If you're gonna pick.
If you're gonna pick.
How
about burn them all to the fucking ground? How about that?
Oh no, that was Martin Luther, who wanted to like
Yeah.
bang somebody. So he's like, "Fuck you guys," and just left and made his own thing.
Yeah, Martin Luther.
Lutherans
Yeah, Martin Luther posted the whatever.
on people's doors.
Posted the notice on the church.
Here's 48 reasons why the church sucks.
Basically, yeah.
Based. No. Who is the king that made his
George.
own religion? Because
The Anglican Church by King George, I think.
Okay, because like his wife died and he wanted to bang some other girl.
No, divorce.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't bang anyone after you divorced. He's like, "Fuck this shit! I'm making my own church." It just did.
Yeah.
And then it became.
That's what you're thinking.
Oh,
yeah.
and then that was the Church of England, I think.
Anglican Church.
Anglican Church. That's the same thing.
That's what. Yeah, they said Catholic and Anglican are very similar.
Okay, all right.
Protestant,
Except
Catholic,
for like two things,
yeah, Protestant and Catholic are very different.
because that's why Ireland fought for so long.
Right.
Because
Because Irish are Catholics.
Northern Ireland are Protestants and Ireland is Catholics, or is it the opposite?
No,
way?
it's Anglicans versus Catholics.
It's Protestants versus Catholics.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Dublin is
You're talking Ireland versus Ireland.
Ireland-
I'm living.
no,
I'm living in England here.
Ireland versus Northern Ireland.
Okay. That I honestly don't know basically anything about that conflict. All I know, the only thing I know about is the Irish potato famine.
I learned about it in school for some reason. And it's because it's not ancient history, which everyone forgets about. Like, they were car bombing police cars in like the 80s, right? Like, this was not the Troubles, they call it, right? That was not that long ago. So, which still, like, the fact that Irish car bomb is a shot that you can order,
Yeah.
that's the same thing as like, hey, can I get an Osama bin Laden fucking trade center?
Yeah. Can I get the?
Osama Trade Center, please? And it's like tequila and sriracha or something.
Yeah, can you make that shot, Willows?
Osama Trade
I
Center?
think enough time has passed.
Yeah, never forget. But like, people were getting bombed in the fucking streets with homemade mortars. Actually, in one of my favorite books, Ragnar Benson's Urban Survival Guide. It's actually banned in this country. That's why I read it.
Nice.
Because we had free reading in English, so Zach and I read only books that were illegal to have, that we pirated.
I bet your teachers will love that.
Yeah, so that was fun. So there's they quote a lot about actually maybe it wasn't that book, but I remember reading a book about urban warfare that they quoted a lot about the Troubles, because they were making mortars out of like plastic tubes and shit, like shit you can find around your house.
Mm-hmm.
They were making and like bombing the fuck out of police stations from like a block away, and then getting away because they had like a yeah.
I think.
All because different religion, right?
Yeah, I think that is
Every
a
war
pretty
ever.
good way for religions to battle things out. Honestly, I'd prefer that over it being debated in Parliament.
Just
or,
kill each other. Fuck it.
Like, just settle it
Go
in
on
the
another-
streets. Just settle
Go
it
on
in
a
the streets,
crusade,
boys.
right?
Yeah, just go on a crusade. Just let it. Don't make it the rest of our problems.
Okay, I'm pretty sure like bombing innocent people in the street.
That's only a few people, though. It's not everybody.
when it's just Irish people. Just kidding. Irish people, I love you.
We fucking love Irish people.
I'm probably Irish. I don't know.
You think? You look a bit of it.
I could be Scottish.
Could be.
I have a little bit of red in my beard, and I can have a very high alcohol tolerance.
That's all you need.
I don't know my parents though, so.
I think they would adopt you. The Irish, not your parents.
Oh,
Your parents obviously wouldn't.
you confused me. Yeah, because they put me up for adoption.
No, if they met you now.
They are dead. They
Your-
adopt me into hell.
Anyways, I don't know where that's going.
Me neither.
I don't know. Just kind of the thoughts bouncing around in my head this last week on how effective I think a lot of conservative movements have been at just by mobilizing. I was listening to a podcast about the fucking militia groups that are mobilizing on like the U.S.-Mexico border, just to
Wait,
fight.
American?
Yeah, American militia groups going to the U.S.-Mexico border to fight imaginary pedophile trafficking gangs.
Do you remember the convoy? The Mexican convoy?
Yeah.
People really believe that was real.
Yeah.
That was like a major talking point on the fucking election.
Yeah, exactly. And basically since then...
People
and then
will just believe anything you fucking tell them.
Yeah, and the QAnon shit was piled on top of that. And it was this reporter that was going to this small town where these fucking grifters are going. And it was like the Veterans on Patrol organization, which is started by a guy who's not a veteran. They'd like go down there and they just go to this border town. And it's just this little border town where they mind their own fucking business. And occasionally when migrant groups come over the border and they're like dying in the desert, they'll like give them water and sometimes a bit of food so they don't fucking die because they're human beings. And so these guys go into this town and they're like they're going live and taking videos. They're like in front of the grocery store and there's like, these are the people that support the pedophile cabal and shit like that. And they got into a major altercation with like the townsfolk because there wasn't like a police force or even a fucking mayor. And it got violent because the townspeople are like, get the fuck out of here. Like there's no pedophile cabal here. It's just like some hungry people or maybe a bunch of dead people in the desert. Like that's it. And these guys are like, oh, we're covering every square inch of the border. You know, send me $15 and like just fucking grifters, right? And I just
subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. I just find it fucking incredible the mobilization and how effective and eager these groups are to just get fucking boots on the ground and go. Or to like, there's even QAnon groups that are getting elected into office, or like QAnon group leaders that are getting elected into office in like fucking Florida and shit.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, famously was like, "There's a Jewish space laser."
Well, she's. I think my belief is she's more of just like a shill for whatever.
Dude, I think she's psychotic.
Yeah, and
Her
she's a shill for whatever. She's not like an
Bobart as well.
idealist that would like when she believed in this thing went for office. I think she just jumps at whatever.
But there's people that would die to bring down the pedophile cabal.
Oh, certainly.
That may or may not exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At least I don't think it exists in the manner that they believe it does. I believe pedophile trafficking rings exist.
Yeah.
I don't think that every human being on the U.S.-Mexico border is assisting
Yeah,
them.
probably not.
No.
He's like Nicaraguans. It's like...
Yeah, like what... If you listen to the words they say, it doesn't even make sense. They're like these migrants crossing the border are actually the perpetrators of this trafficking. It's like, if they're migrants and they're also traffickers, it's like that. It doesn't. Those people aren't in a position of strength. They don't have resources. Like,
one of my favorite things...
Like, they're the most desperate people in the world.
One of my favorite things is if you look on like any Facebook page or Twitter that's like an official libertarian party.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Libertarian Party of America or whatever. Libertarians, I used to identify as a libertarian. I don't anymore. I don't identify as anything anymore, but libertarians get a bad... Like, people make memes about them because they're like...
Because the Koch brothers.
Oh, you don't want any age of consent, and you just want to shoot people to come in your fucking yard or whatever, right? But
yeah.
The entire basis of libertarianism and a lot of anarchism is just non-aggression principle. Like, you can't hurt anyone unless they hurt you first.
Yeah.
That's period, right? So, how did somebody coming over the Mexican border hurt you?
Especially if you're from 5 states away.
They didn't. So therefore you can't stop them, right?
Yeah.
So
also libertarians don't believe in borders.
Exactly. So whenever the Libertarian Party, any of these pages post something like that, all you see is comments being like, "This is where you lose me," because they're just spicy conservatives.
Yeah.
I'm a libertarian, and meanwhile they're just a conservative that wants their gun rights.
Yeah.
Libertarians are typically pro-choice, and because you can't tell somebody else what to do.
Yeah.
They're typically
anti-religion.
They're typically pro-drug decriminalization, pro-sex work. you know.
Yeah, how many conservatives are you describing right now? Fucking not many.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. So like literally the only things that these spicy conservatives, as I call them, like from libertarianism is like the guns and I can shoot at people. And it's like you're just a conservative.
And anti-state sentiment.
Yeah, the anti-state sentiment. But like I just find it's also interesting all these conservatives that have an anti-state sentiment but then like support the police.
Yeah.
It's like who do you think's do like don't tread on me, but then they also have a back the blue. It's like who's doing the treading?
Yeah. It's like Pelosi's evil but fund the cops.
Do you see this is going to turn into a actually let's do this before we go into the next statement.
You poured me a large shot again.
No, remember I poured in the other glass. It's tapered, I swear. See? I'm getting good at eyeballing it.
It's more than you though. Your glass is like half full.
Yeah, because I see the glass half full.
There you go.
That's just because I'm mostly because I'm pouring with my left arm. I'm just like So
whatever. I'm just here to keep you honest.
Before we move to the next segment, we'll do this segment, which is called Alcohol Beyond This Segment. Wait, what do we call this segment? Oh, it's called Shot Caller, the part of the show where you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. This week's episode is sponsored by Nancy Pelosi.
Thanks for the stock tips.
Thanks for the stock tips. We're taking a Jack Daniel's shot, by the way.
That was not smooth, and I can't even chase it because I just have whiskey. Thanks, buddy.
I really don't like Jack Daniel's, honestly.
It's terrible.
I don't know why people...
I bought it to mix with Coke.
No, I know you did, but it's like so famous. You know what I mean?
It's fine.
And it's just like not a good...
I was going to say, I'm drinking right now because this is also a drinking
But
podcast.
it's not cheap.
No.
Like...
It tastes cheap.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Swear Jar. It's a Canadian whiskey. It says tastes so good, we dare you not to swear.
Fuck. Damn it.
I took a sip and I did not cuss. Sorry. And then on the back it just says, "Pay up, potty mouth. Whenever someone swears they need to pay up, you'll soon have enough to cover your next bottle." It's kind of gimmicky, in my opinion.
Gimmicky good or gimmicky bad?
Gimmicky.
Okay.
I'm gimmicky neutral.
Where's it made?
Swear Jar Calf Distillery.
Swear Jaw, Ontario.
Imported by Irokos Group, Boston, Massachusetts. But it's a Canadian whiskey? Oh. Montreal, Quebec.
So that bottle you're holding right now?
It has a U.S. sticker on the bottom,
Yes.
which threw me off.
I was just going to say, that bottle you're holding right now, as far as I know from I'm pretty well versed in liquor law.
Yeah.
That bottle was distilled in Montreal, imported into the United States by a company in Boston, and then exported back to Canada to Manitoba to sell in liquor marts.
Why? Think they make more profit that way?
It's probably just a logistics thing.
Possibly.
They probably have a warehouse. I don't know. Like, they probably distribute out of, like, Minnesota, or, like, that's one of their warehouses, and it's just easier to go up to Manitoba than go over from Montreal.
Yeah, probably. It's fucking
Something
far.
like that, but they wouldn't put imported by if it wasn't...
Just so you know, like, I'm closer to... Right now, from where we're sitting, we're closer to Cleveland than we are to Montreal.
We're closer to Los Angeles than Montreal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Canada's Lorg. And we're
very close, if not.
And we're in the middle of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lorg.
Yeah. And it's just by driving, it's also worse because our roads are meandering and we don't have like an interstate system.
Well, mostly because like half of the time it's going through the fucking mountains and or the lakes.
And its speed limit's 90 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is like 40 miles an hour.
It's 6 miles an hour.
Basically.
Anyway, I wanted to transfer to our first business topic of the business podcast.
I don't like it.
I think I want to like... This isn't what I wanted to talk about, but I think I want to just like disconnect from world events and politics for like a year.
You're gonna come back out and be like, what happened
and
since
just
I've been gone?
focus.
Yeah.
Because I don't care, but I care. Like I love to educate myself on everything that's going on, but like none of it fucking matters.
Yeah.
Like I've really been having this feeling recently, and I've been getting introspective because I've been getting depressed again, and I don't know why, because I've made a bunch of like positive changes to my life and it's not helping.
Right.
And so I've been like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, everything I read on like these like fucking Twitter threads and Instagram threads or whatever of like politics, and all the comments are just the dumbest people arguing with other dumb people about dumb shit.
I think Twitter is where you're going wrong.
But none of it matters.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm like, I just want to cut all of that out. Like I want to do like no social media. I think I'm going to try for like a week. But then what do I do all day?
Or even just cut out Twitter.
No, Twitter's the best one out of all of it. Facebook's probably the way to go. I'm like one of the people my age that still uses Facebook.
Facebook's fucking terrible for me, man. I've seen nothing that gives me any kind of enjoyment on Facebook.
I'm in a lot of like meme groups.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know. I feel like I'd be better off if I just focused on my business and didn't
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
deal with this. So.
I endorse this fully. I mean,
think I
JL
wanna-
says this all the time. Don't follow me down this path. It's not nice.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing
So-
good down here.
I think I'll probably wait till my slow season, which is weird to say. Okay, so here's the thing.
You should probably do it in your busy season.
But I do a lot of farmers markets and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there's like 10 minutes between each customer.
Right.
That's the perfect time to just scroll TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it's like not enough time for me to like get into anything or like do my work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah, you can't switch gears every 5 minutes.
yeah, it's hard. Yeah. So, yeah. And I have like a really short attention span. Like I bring a book. I've been reading the same book for like 6 months because I can read a chapter at a time.
Yeah.
And that I have to force myself. I don't know if you ever do this, but like while I'm reading a book, like a physical book, I like see how many pages are left in the chapter constantly.
To like see, yeah, that's I think you have an attention span problem.
No,
my
I
friend.
do. I know 100%
Yeah.
do. I'm like, I probably have undiagnosed like ADD, honestly. Like,
Probably.
which I'm not doing fucking, I was gonna say meth. What is it called? Adderall. I'm not gonna fucking get on an Adderall prescription to fucking fix it. So, but I have very short attention span. So social media really helps to,
Yeah.
the 6 seconds of fucking TikTok. Anyway, that's something I want to do. I also, ironically, I think I want to go a month without drinking alcohol, just mostly to see if I can do it.
You're just gonna drink juice on the show?
Well, that's why I said ironically is like, I don't know whether I kind of want to just do it for a month, except the podcast.
That's fair.
And then that'll be my 1 day a week. But like, I've been drinking a lot less recently.
Yeah.
Last 5 months, significantly less. Like now, there's been days in the last couple of months where I've gone without drinking.
Yeah.
Which sounds like
It's monumental. That's a big.
sounds like not anything.
I remember
but,
just last year I was like challenging you to do this.
But I remember my therapist said something along the lines of like, just take 1 day a week where you don't have a drink.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. And now I'm doing it by accident.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, like I came home the other day, long day, and I was going to crack a beer and I didn't have beer in the fridge.
You forgot?
I just forgot to put it in the fridge. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just crack I had like an iced tea. I'm like, oh, I'll just crack this instead. And then just didn't have any alcohol. And then went to bed. Like, that's something I couldn't have done
Yeah.
2 years ago.
No, you would have gone out to the vendor.
Yeah. Or just drank the warm beer.
Or that.
Right. So there's been a few days in the last couple of months where I just didn't drink at all. So that's but it's not making me happier. In fact, the opposite.
Well,
So
I mean, it is pretty good stuff. So
I
the
always
fact that you're not you're losing the benefits, right? but it's like, you're losing the benefits of alcohol, but like you've yet to discover the benefits of drinking less. It's that's the shitty thing about it, is because it's instant gratification versus
Yeah.
something intangible.
And I also, it's probably from a bunch of places, but where I know it from is this comic called Perils Before Swine. And they're all animals. They live in a house together. So there's like a rat and a pig. And so rat's at the doctor's office. And he's like, "So wait, doctor, you're telling me I gotta quit smoking, I gotta quit drinking, I gotta eat healthy, and then what happens?" He's like, "Well, you'll live many more years." Like, "How many more years?" Like, 10 more years. He's like, "And in those 10 years, I can spend it not drinking, not smoking, and eating healthy." He's like, "Yeah." And then it cuts, and he's like smoking and has a beard. And he's like, "Easiest decision I fucking made."
Yeah.
And I think of that where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know.
I mean, especially when you're staring down the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I everyone with a problem says they don't have a problem, but I feel like I don't have a problem.
With alcohol?
Yeah, I don't think I don't know.
I don't think
I don't think any more than anyone else.
I think you've adapted to it in such a way where it's not a problem in your life anymore.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it's no longer a hindrance to the way that your life was, but it may be a hindrance to maybe where your life is going.
Sure. And like, I'll have bad days where I get too drunk and then, embarrass myself or whatever. But like, that's not because.
Don't we all?
Well, yeah, but that's not because of the alcohol. That's because I'm having a bad mental health day,
Right.
and that's how I have to deal with it, or that's how I choose to deal with it.
Yeah.
But like, if I didn't deal with it that way, I would have dealt with it some other way, right? And it's like, at its core, I'm just having a bad mental health day.
Right.
It's not like the alcohol caused it,
Right.
right? Maybe that's me coping, but
Well, I mean, the fact that you can identify the difference helps.
well, sometimes it's like more frustrating that I'm smart enough to identify that I'm like having bad mental health, but I can't do anything about it.
Well,
Like, that's almost worse.
It's very common for people with higher intelligence to just
You hear that? Tyler just said I had higher intelligence. Got him.
to like self-diagnose, self-medicate, and self-regulate using external inputs. Like it's a very common thing to consciously medicate. Like, I consciously medicate myself all the time because I'm like, you do not want to know what it's like inside my fucking head. And it's like, I can't shut certain things off. And I know how to, like, I've kind of hacked my own mind. I know how to slow myself down.
What did I say when we went to we were at your house for a barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no music playing, and I'm like, "Can we turn on some music?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I wondered how long it would take you to bring that up." And I said, "Yeah, I can't be alone with my thoughts." And then no one laughed because it was like a lot of people that your girlfriend's friends that don't know me,
Yeah.
and like everyone was silent, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
It was deadpan. Man,
That was funny.
the last conversation of the night ended up about as well as that start was.
Well, I was already gone.
Yeah, it was just me and Jael. And I had sent Jael this article that was actually a fun fact. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but I don't know if it's like a meta study or just some big clinical study on SSRIs. I think it's a meta study about studies of SSRIs, because often there's studies that basically collate a bunch of data from a bunch of other people that have done the raw data research, and usually those are the ones that kind of make more of a splash instead of just like this one thing or that one thing, because it shows a trend. But anyway, so the study came out from a very compelling place. I don't know if it was Stanford or some shit, saying basically that SSRIs and like treating serotonin levels as the source of depression is it's just not a valid way of dealing with depression, because they're like, serotonin is not the cause of depression, serotonin is a symptom of depression, and the current medical establishment is treating it like the cause. So then the solution is always SSRIs, but in reality, just giving people these, supplementing the serotonin
Isn't treating the
isn't
underlying.
isn't treating it consistently. It's helping some people, but there's no way, the way that they put it, there's no way to accurately predict how people will respond to it and if it will actually fix their depression, which kind of points to the fact that it's not the cause, but it's like you're just treating a symptom.
Okay, but like, is that different than if like I had low testosterone, so they gave me testosterone shots
Right.
to bring it back up because my
right.
thyroid was fucked for whatever reason.
Right, but your thyroid might still be fucked.
Well, yeah, maybe it is, but like,
But now you have the benefits of high testosterone, but maybe there's other things going wrong.
but okay, but what if they can't fix the thyroid? Then it's better to, because like my point would be
Yeah.
they can't fix my brain,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna be depressed either way.
I think the point was the SSRIs are more it's kind of like shooting in the dark. It's not a like, you can't treat it like a cure or solution, or like that was the problem and now we've solved it. It's, you have to treat it like we're treating a symptom with this thing, and it may or may not work. It needs to be reframed that way.
Because I guess like the entire treatment of depression with chemicals is a relatively new phenomenon, right?
Right, and that's the thing. It's relatively new, and it's actually not. There's not a lot of science endorsing the fact that it actually fixes depression. Like, there's more compelling evidence that psychedelics treat depression, because you take a dose of psilocybin, you have some counseling with it, and you have reprieve from this for 6 to 12 months, versus you have to take these chemicals every single day, and then you got this fucking monkey on your back, and you may or may not, but probably will get addicted to this, and it's going to fuck you up, and you might kill yourself anyways. Like, that's kind of the state of it. But there's so much money in depression meds. Obviously, the lobby is incredibly powerful.
Is psilocybin therapy legal in this country?
No, but they're legalizing experimentation, working on that.
I'd do that.
Yeah, it's not super illegal, but
Gray market kind of thing. It's like weed was before weed was legal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've knocked it down a schedule or two, but basically, yeah. Me and JL were trying to describe this, or trying to talk about this, because obviously Carly's getting into psych, and her friend that was still there, Melissa, is on SSRIs and has depression, which, I mean, we didn't know at the outset of the conversation, but she definitely let us know.
I think like a third of the population.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. A ton of people. And Melissa felt like we were personally attacking her, saying like your depression isn't valid and isn't real. But it's like, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying like whatever, like I just explained. So she didn't take it very well. So that didn't go very well. But the study basically said the conditions of someone's life, their personal satisfaction, their socioeconomic conditions, their health, their eating, their physical health, their financial situation, all these things weigh in towards someone's personal mental health. And talk therapy and like just fixing your diet will probably be more effective for most people than just taking an SSRI and just not addressing the rest of the things. Like, a more holistic approach and actually addressing the issues in your life is the way to deal with depression, not just, here, take this drug, it's fixed. Depression is a serotonin problem. It's not the fact that your life is fucked, the world is fucked, everything's fucked around you, you've been fucked, and this drug makes it okay.
But then, like, how do you fix the fact that, like, we're all going to die in a climate disaster and I have climate depression?
Oh, you just give everybody a lot of serotonin.
Well, okay, that's what I'm saying, though. Is like, how do how do you fix
You don't.
the underlying, like, my brother is dead, so I'm sad?
You don't.
So,
I mean, you can deal with it. Like, there's ways to deal with death, and there's obviously a lot of counseling around that. There's, the oldest thing in the world is fucking dealing with death. But just dosing people up with these drugs is also not the solution. That's the point. It's like the solution is yet to be found, and we need to keep pursuing it, was kind of the point. And treating it like a settled discussion is a big mistake, which I think is fucking valid. Like, yeah, I mean, if it really did fix people, why do we have this gigantic fucking problem and a huge surge of a generation that's just depressed as hell?
Well, things are getting worse, I think. So.
Yeah, exactly. That there's a correlation there. It's like things are getting worse, therefore new generations are doing worse. There's like technology makes them worse. Social media affects mental health, and just everything's falling apart, and they don't, there's an entire generation that feels like there's no hope for them. Valid. And it's like, oh, you're just low on serotonin, boy, buck up.
Well, on that cheery note, I did want to mention that Nancy Pelosi sold off her entire NVIDIA position at a loss.
Nice.
And she disclosed it the same day she made the trade, which she's never done her entire career.
Interesting.
Because you have to disclose it within like 180 days or something.
Right.
She's never once disclosed a trade on the same day. And I think it's because... Okay, well... So I actually follow Bullish Willows, at Bullish Willows on Twitter. It's my stock trading Twitter specifically.
I was going to say you got a new Twitter handle?
Yeah, that's my... specifically for my stock trades. I wanted to get like all my shitty due diligence in my same feed.
Yeah.
So I can make trades based on what Twitter says. Anyway, so follow at Bullish Willows on Twitter if you want to follow my stock trades. And so the people on my stock Twitter are now saying two things happened. One of two things, or maybe both. She knows there's a looming conflict of interest investigation, and this was her dumping it so that they can't investigate anymore because she has no conflict of interest. Or, which is equally as well likely, she knows the CHIPS Act isn't going to pass, and those NVIDIA stocks are going to fall further. So she's cutting now.
I guess we will update you on the next pod.
And nobody knows, but those are the two, out of everyone I was talking to on Twitter today, those are the two likelihoods. Because for context, I think we talked about this last episode, but just a quick recap, Nancy Pelosi, who's a high-ranking government official in the United States, basically introduced a bill to make chips, like computer chips, in America, which NVIDIA, who's a giant chip manufacturer, their stock went up significantly because of that announcement. But then she disclosed that she bought like $10 million of their stock.
Yeah.
Right before making the announcement.
Yeah.
And then people were alleging that it was insider trading. And because her husband bought them, not her.
Right.
And she's like, oh, no, I don't tell my husband to do trades. Anyway, next question. Right. So then like 4 days later, she sells them all at a loss.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Some prosecutors like dump them where we charge you.
Well, maybe she heard through the grapevine.
Right.
That there's an investigation that's starting to be put on paper. Dump your shares, and then there is no conflict of interest. Or, alternatively, that didn't happen. And Biden's like, this isn't fucking passing. I'm not letting it pass.
There's an incredible amount of tension over that because her trip that she planned to go to Taiwan.
China was like, we're going to shoot your plane out of the sky.
Not explicitly, but they said we will use...
no, they used the word consequences is what they used.
Yeah, there will be...
consequences if Pelosi travels to Taiwan.
Yeah. And they mentioned military force as well.
Did you see...
Fantastic.
Did you see when John Cena had to apologize for acknowledging that Taiwan was a country?
I have not seen the apology personally.
So John Cena
is massive there.
Speaks fluent Mandarin.
Yeah.
For some, apparently, like 50% of WWE's revenue comes from China.
Yeah.
They love it over there, apparently.
I think maybe he grew up there or he spent some time there as a kid.
Okay.
Like
I don't know.
One of his parents worked there or something like that, but I think that's one of the reasons that they made him big in the WWE because they're like, oh, we're getting a big China base, and they're like, oh, there's this wrestler coming up that's got Mandarin under his belt, so let's make him big.
Okay.
I think that's part of the story.
And I I don't know fucking anything about wrestling other than pop culture. But Vince McMahon, the founder of WWE, actually just resigned in like on the wake of like sexual assault allegations.
Allegedly.
And he was just like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
And like just
Vince McMahon of WWE? It's like, that's so hard to believe.
Dude, I've seen fucking clips of that guy just like saying the N-word and like on TV.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, what's up, my whatever, my ninja? Like, yeah. That guy's
cool and good.
dude, pro wrestling is a fucking fascinating business. Like, what a weird, where like everyone knows it's just performance art.
I really want to see it though.
I don't, right?
I want to go to like one of the Raw performances.
It's a play,
Yeah.
right? It's a play where it's choreographed and they know who's gonna win.
I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna watch the fight. I'm just gonna look at everyone around me
But
and enjoy that show.
it's. I wonder if I haven't dug into it at all, but I wonder if there's any interviews with like Vince McMahon being like acknowledging what it is. Like it's literally a play for like people that are like, plays are for faggots. Like,
Yeah.
but then they go watch wrestling, right?
Soaps.
Literally, it's
Yeah.
a soap opera, right? That's because they like week to week they have drama and they marry each other and people are like, it's literally a soap opera.
Yeah.
And then they fight, but they're not hitting each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do get injured a lot.
Oh, okay, of course, but they're doing stunts.
Yeah.
They're stuntmen.
Yeah,
right?
they're just very dramatic stuntmen.
And what a weird thing, right? Like, so I like, I don't follow it that often, but I'll watch the prize fights in boxing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The occasional UFC. I like boxing more than I like UFC. I feel like UFC is just like they took a street fight and just paid people to do it.
Okay.
You can just fucking kill people in UFC. You can literally do whatever you want.
Oh, I mean, technically it's safer than boxing.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Because boxing, you have you can get knocked down and get up and keep fighting. So you can get like concussed multiple times and keep fighting. UFC, if you get knocked down once, it's over.
But they can like knee you in the fucking face and shit. No, but like if you get knocked down, they
there's
fight.
There's a lot of illegal moves.
No, but if they knock you if they knock you over, then they start fighting on the ground. They like start grappling.
Well, I mean, if you're,
You can see I don't actually
but if you
know
got
that.
like, if you actually like knocked a guy down with a punch,
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to fight back, right?
Okay.
And then if that guy jumps on him
Yeah.
and like starts hammering it, they'll end the fight within like a second.
I thought you had to tap before they. In
Well,
UFC.
not if you're unconscious.
Okay, fair.
That's only for submissions in wrestling. So you can
Okay.
you can either tap someone out by submission,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is you
Yeah,
fucking break
put them in a hold or whatever.
put them in a hold, break the
Yeah.
leg.
Yeah.
So there's tap out by submission. There's TKO, which is technical knockout,
Where
which
you,
is
like,
where you knock a guy down.
Yeah,
but
and
he's
then
not
they
complete-
count them out.
Yeah, well, they don't even count him out. That's a boxing thing.
Yeah,
like
okay.
the ref just calls it on the
Okay.
spot.
I don't. Yeah,
There's no count.
Okay.
That's the thing about boxing that makes it more dangerous is the count and the opportunity to get back up.
Yeah.
Once the point at what a boxing ref would start the count is where a UFC ref ends
Would
the fight.
cut it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's over.
Interesting.
So it's actually considerably safer to fight UFC.
Gloves versus fists, though.
What do you mean?
Like the gloves they wear in UFC are fucking like nothing, right? They're like the thinnest.
They're smaller. They're lightweight and they're smaller for sure. So you can't punch like as hard.
Wasn't the whole point of boxing gloves to like, so you can't punch as hard? Like it
Well, it deadens the hit, but you can swing harder.
because you have more weight.
Right.
Fair. Yeah.
You have more weight and more padding on your hands, so you can just keep swinging and swinging and swinging.
So here's the thing.
In UFC, you get hit once with one of those hits, and you just go down.
Yeah, I don't watch like I watch way more boxing than I watch UFC, and neither do I watch a lot of. I just the UFC things I loved is Khabib just fucking destroying Conor McGregor in like
Yeah.
2 rounds and just and then he had him on the ground and he's like punching him in the face and he's just like Well, you want to keep talking shit, buddy? You want to fucking talk now? And he's just like, just destroyed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I like Khabib a lot. Because Khabib is such like a disciplined, like Muslim, like just like never blinks, like just fucking, and then that whole thing where like Connor was trying to get him to take a shot of whiskey on TV or whatever, and he's like obviously Muslim and he like obviously can't drink alcohol, and then he was just like, yeah, you want to keep talking shit, let's talk in the ring, and then just like destroyed him. I thought that was fucking awesome. I'm not like, I love Conor McGregor as a meme, but like he's not like empirically right. He's not the best.
He shouldn't be anyone's idol.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not that great. He's just a young rich asshole.
He's like, I love Trump.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't think anyone should be like Trump. Like, but I love Trump just because it's funny.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was talking about. But my point was, if people want to consent to just beating the fuck out of each other, I think that's fine.
Absolutely.
And also, I think it's like I think why it's popular is it's like the most basic of human, especially men, like instinct is like, me fight man. Like,
yeah, to brawl over some shit.
You know, it's like, me fight you. Like I think it's a fine sport to exist.
Absolutely.
Oh no, yeah, okay, so my point, I remember now, was that is fighting. WWE, what the fuck are they doing?
Dancing.
Hit him with a metal chair. Why does this shit happen? Like,
it was amazing when I was like 9.
See, my parents didn't let me watch it.
Neither did mine. I watched it at my friend's house.
You know me. Yeah, I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't watch the show, the soap opera at my friend's house. We would play the WWE video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
I remember going on the YouTube and watching like Rey Mysterio highlights. That was my favorite.
We used to watch like backyard wrestling, where it was like kids that would like jump into barbed wire and then be like crying. Like,
amazing.
Yeah.
Or Kimbo Slice street fights, Gypsy King fights.
It's just so, it's such a weird, like, now I'm just thinking of like wrestling clips where they get like hit and then they're lying on the ground like, oh, like it's a fucking like boss in a video game that's like in its like vulnerable state, right? It's just such a weird, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like every huge wrestling fan is like, well, yeah, I know it's fake, I just like it.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Which is just interesting.
It's like watching TV.
But like I like Star Wars. I know there's not fucking space pirates,
well,
like, you know.
Do you? There could be. Probably is.
Oh, I was gonna say, when we were talking about sports being stupid as well, like it's why I can't insult people too much, is because like I care about what happens in the Star Wars show.
Like, really cares?
No, literally, I'll watch the new Star Wars show, and I'll be freaking out about the weird thing from the comics they threw in.
Yeah.
That nobody gives a shit about. And I'm texting like my friend Daniel, who's also very into it. Me and him are it's like 3:30 in the morning. We're fucking just ranting about like, and like I care about Star Wars, but I don't care about sports. Or like I used to watch, like, not so much anymore, I don't have a lot of time, but like I used to watch competitive video games.
Yeah.
On Twitch. Especially like I was a big Age of Empires fan, and they used to have tournaments for money and stuff. I've actually played in a couple, but they used to live stream and live commentate the championships and everything. And it's like I would watch that.
It's good sports.
But then someone throws on fucking football, and I'm like, like,
yeah, I'm there. I love watching live gameplay.
That's an interesting. I like my business partner Zach is like, why would anyone watch someone else play a video game?
Oh, so he's a boomer, to be fair.
He is a boomer, to be fair, but he is literally 3 weeks older than me. But
he's a boomer.
But I care about that more than I care about sports. But I think it's the same. Whatever. All right.
My latest sport obsession is humanity getting the fuck kicked out of it by the Earth.
Round 2, Earth versus capitalism.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah, capital has been landing a lot of heavy body blows for the last 5 decades.
But the Earth is about to fucking punch back.
Yeah, a couple sucker punches. Yeah, it'll be great.
It's like all those Mayweather fights where he's just dancing around for 7 rounds, not getting punched barely.
Yeah.
And then once they're tired, then he takes it, right?
No, I think this is more of like what's his name? Frankie. He's this fucking Jersey kid, UFC fighter. Just gets the absolute fuck beaten out of him in a fight, and like his opponent is an amazing fighter. Like they're very evenly matched, but this guy gets a good couple hits on him, nearly knocks him down, like almost gets to the point of TKO a couple of times. And I think it was like a championship fight, so like 5-minute rounds, and this guy nearly got him in every single round, like all the way up until the 5th round. Frankie was like almost fucking done, but he just wouldn't go down. And this guy hit him with like head kicks, punched him, choked him out, tried submitting him, kneed him in the face, elbows, like just nearly knocked him out with just about everything. And at the end of the fight, he's like, if I would have had a fucking kitchen sink in there, I would have hit him with it too, but I don't think it would have worked. And Frankie comes back in the 5th fucking round, face bloodied, all swelled up, like lips split, he's all fucked up, and he comes back and he wins the fight. Just absolutely incredible. I think the world is more like Frankie and getting the absolute fuck beaten out of it.
And then he's gonna knock us out.
Is in the 5th round is gonna like knock us out.
I like that
gonna...
Paddy, I don't know, Irish guy, UFC fighter.
Paddy.
He's like long hair for a fighter. He's like, he won a fight, and then they're like, who do you want to fight next? He's like, looks at the camera. He's like, Mark Zuckerberg. He's like, incredible. You keep deleting my shit on Instagram. He's like, I want to fucking fight you. And then like right after, literally like he'll win a fight, and then in the press thing after the fight, he's eating a whole pizza.
Yeah,
because you have to lose so much weight, right? So it's like,
I think one of my favorite.
Paddy the Baddy.
Paddy the Baddy.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorites is Big Country. He's like big chunky guy with a mullet.
Big Show.
No, he's called Big Country.
Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Yeah, the guy's got a fucking iron chin, a crazy right hook, and just despite the fact that he's like this big fat dude, has the most incredible endurance. Will like go the distance without even slowing down. He'll like wear guys out. He'll tire them out. That's
my favorite thing is like you hit the weight class because you're fat, not because you're ripped.
And he's super fit.
You know, Brock Lesnar has like a 500-acre ranch like 3 hours from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in like southern Saskatchewan.
Yep, lives in his little old spot, just completely isolated. A couple of townspeople see him once in a while, but just keeps to himself. Hunts.
It's like fucking Tony Soprano had a fucking cabin on Lake Winnipeg.
I did not know that.
Why?
It's a nice lake.
I guess.
It's good laking.
Anyway, we gotta
business dip.
We keep talking about
Tony Soprano
sports that we don't know or watch or follow. So we're gonna transfer here into something that we do watch or follow, which is giving you a business tip of the week. Where Tyler and I give you a life or business tip that we are currently going through in life or business. I've gone first the last couple times. How about you go first?
Sure, I got one. Here's a keep it basic tip. If you really want to get something done, make an appointment for it in your calendar, and then it'll surprise you when it's tomorrow, and you're like, "Ah, fuck,
shit,"
and then you'll get it done. Yeah, so we got a potential like new avenue of business that we're getting into, and been talking about it for like a year, and then finally just got an appointment made with the person, and it's like, oh shit, that's tomorrow, and flurry of activity, and hopefully gonna make something happen.
My partner and I work very well like that. We set deadlines, and then we'll get it done before the deadline.
Yeah, sometimes they're arbitrary. Sometimes it's like a meeting with a key person you need in order to move forward.
Usually it helps me to make an actual, like, to overcommit to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you have to do it. Because if it's just arbitrary, then it's harder to do it. Harder to hold yourself to it.
Yep. So loop in that person. If arbitrary deadlines don't work for you, loop somebody in. Make it like overcommit yourself a little bit and make it hurt if you fuck it up. It is very effective.
My tip of the week is challenge your enemies to a charity boxing match. They can't deny it if you say, well, it's going to be for charity. You don't like charity? You don't like supporting fucking kids with leprosy? And then they're going to be guilted into doing it, and then you can knock them the fuck out legally.
Or you get knocked the fuck out legally. Also fine.
But either way, it's for charity, so it's fine.
Like I said at the top of the podcast, I wish we could just settle things in street fights and car bombs and just stop legislating about it.
Which brings the theme of this episode back around.
EA Sports Ball.
WD is real confirmed? That's the name of the episode. 100. I just decided. Thanks for listening to Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast where we debate 80 Willows, Tyler, bye.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.